This season, Instacart has your back to school. As in, they've got your back to school lunch favorites like snack packs and fresh fruit. And they've got your back to school supplies like backpacks, binders, and pencils. And they've got your back when your kid casually tells you they have a huge school project due tomorrow. Let's face it, we were all that kid. So first, call your parents to say I'm sorry, and then download the Instacart app to get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes all school year long. Get a $0 delivery fee with your first 3 orders while supplies last. Minimum $10 an order. Additional terms apply.
We acknowledge the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and recognise their continuing connection to land, waters and culture. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Welcome to This Song Is Yours, a music podcast where we chat to a new guest each week, talk about their life and creative endeavours, and talk to them about some of the music they love. Our show works by chatting to our guests about music, but also getting them to make you a playlist of the songs they love. You can find the link to our playlist in the show notes. Welcome to episode 109. I'm your host, Simon Fink. Our guest today is James Ivey. The New Jersey native recently released his debut EP, entitled Good Grief. In today's episode, we're speaking with James about his new EP, his start in electronic music, and touring with Porter Robinson. Here we go. Our guest today is an incredible singer, songwriter, and producer. His unique sound of blending electronic music and alternative rock together has resulted in his brilliant debut EP, entitled Good Grief. Please welcome to This Song Is Yours, James Ivey. Hello.
Hey, what's going on? How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good. I have a day off. Right now. I've been on tour for the past couple months. So I have a day off today, so I've just been like sitting in a hotel room playing video games the whole day. So I'm good. I'm like happy as can be right now.
Do you find that when you're on tour, there's any form of kind of, I guess, pressure to go out and sightsee or to do all those kind of things? Yeah.
So going into the tour, I was like, one of the biggest things I was most excited about is my first tour ever. So my biggest thing for me that I was like so excited about was just like being able to see a bunch of different cities I've never seen before. And I quickly learned that like you don't really have a ton of time, at least on this tour. And that's not like a bad thing by any means. But it's just not what I expected. Like I was like, oh, we're going to be driving through all of America. I'm going to be seeing all the sites. Like it's going to be so cool. Like, you know, what I came to learn quickly is that like we drive at night. So we finish the show every night. And then most of the times we have a show the next day. It's pretty rare that we have a day off in between. So, after we finish the show, we just get back on the bus and then we go to sleep while the bus is, you know, starting to take off. And then we wake up in the next city and we're like there, but we're already at the venue. So we're just like, all right, cool. Like time to load in, get some food, you know, hang out for a bit, shower up. And then it's showtime again. And it's like, where did the day go? So yeah, it's like, it's funny. I've been thinking about it a lot. It feels like I've been so many places, but also it feels like I've just been like in a green room for like 2 months, like straight. So, yeah, that's definitely a bummer. I think there'll be other opportunities though, like other tours and other stuff for me to sightsee and do all that stuff. I was looking forward to it, but, I think, yeah, I'm trying to think of like, if we saw anything like, we just love going out to get food. So we just like look for the best food in the area and be like, all right, let's do that. So we've been trying a lot of kind of like state to state food, which is cool.
That's very cool. I imagine that there is like, sometimes you kind of want that space to yourself. Going out and like being a tourist almost can kind of be draining after like 3 or 4 days. And so if you're doing it all the time, I imagine it kind of takes its toll.
Yeah, the tour is pretty intense. Like it's a lot of back to back. I think so. Today's day off came right after like a 5 in a row, which is like my first time doing a 5 in a row. I think, I think some of the people on the tour is like first time as well doing that many shows in a row. And like going out and trying to like see sights after like playing 5 shows in a row and sleeping on a bus for 5 nights. You're kind of just like, I'm down to like hang out and just like not leave. So that's been me today. I haven't like done anything. It's been nice.
Well, I know we discussed it before, but I appreciate you chatting to us today because I know
course. Thank you.
It could be relaxing.
Thank you for having me.
No, of course.
I'm excited. I'm really excited to be here. So thank you.
The tour that you're referring to, you're currently on tour with Porter Robinson across the US.
Yes, I am. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, you were going to say how something.
I was just going to ask how's it all going so far?
Yeah, it's really good. It's really, really good. It's like I don't know, kind of like a dream come true type situation, like really surreal. I didn't think that I would be thrust into like a tour of this like caliber very like this early on. So I'm really like grateful to be in the position I am. And I almost like kind of, we're nearing the end of the tour. So it's almost over. I think this is our last week. And I think part of me was like a little bit regretful. I was like, oh, maybe I should have like, maybe I should have been like even more grateful than I was to be on this tour. Just because I feel like I maybe didn't soak in as much as I should have. But overall, like, it's just, I don't know, it's been a dream. Like, it's been the chillest experience ever. Everyone on the team is incredibly nice. Like, and I'm not even just saying that to say that, like, it's so true. Like the whole team is like, the crew is great. And then the artists that are on the tour with us are amazing. And everyone's been really supportive and really generous. That's like a good word, I think, is like generous to me. So, I couldn't have asked for like a better first tour experience, and getting to play in front of people night after night after night is something I've never done. I've done like a few one-off shows here and there. So really, really honing in on like performance and learning how to take care of your voice and how to take care of yourself, just your health in general and things like that. Like, they're all really good, like, firsts for me. And I don't know. I guess getting on stage every night too is just like insane. Like, it's a blast, and so only good things. I only got good things to say about touring.
That's very good. I feel like everyone's tour experiences might not be as positive as what you've just kind of recounted. So that's awesome to kind of hear.
I'm lucky. I'm very lucky. I know that I am too. I know I'm lucky. I'm not like, oh, every tour is like this. Like, I know I'm super lucky to be on this one. So, but yeah.
That's very cool. You are currently in, like, I guess, supporting your brand new EP that's just come out. Yes. Good grief. Mm-hmm. Congratulations. It's a fantastic EP, man.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. I see the Paramore album in the back. Maybe there's some link there or something.
I was going to kind of touch on, like, the EP is like this gorgeous kind of mix of electronic music and kind of like a little bit of pop, a little bit of pop punk, a little bit of rock. Mm. Like, it kind of seems to genre bend or mash quite a bit. And firstly, I guess, where I believe you previously studied electronic music or had quite a history with electronic music. Is that right?
Yeah. So you're spot on. Like, I grew up when I was probably like end of middle school to like high school. So I guess ages like 13 to like 17. I really was inspired by, like, I heard Skrillex for the first time, and I was like, when I was like 12 or 13, I was like, oh my God, like, I want to do this. And like, I've been listening to music my whole life. And like, I think looking back on it, I've been listening to music my whole life. And for some reason, Skrillex was like the first thing that I was like, I could see myself doing it, which is really weird. And I never really thought about why that was. And like, as I've gotten older, I've kind of reflected back on it maybe. And I was like thinking, like, it's like reachable for me because I never envisioned myself being like a front man of a rock project or a any kind like a pop project or like anything. I never really saw that saw it for myself, even though that's the stuff I was like most inspired by. And so I heard the Skrillex stuff and I was like, completely blew my mind, completely changed a lot of stuff for me. And then I kind of just focused on like, I want to do that. And so pretty much like stopped playing piano, like stopped practicing instruments and stuff, and just was like focused on production. And so I taught myself like music production, really, really bad at first, like terrible. Like my parents were like, just letting me like be creative or whatever. But like, it was so bad. And then I think over time it got better. And like, I met some really good friends through like SoundCloud. We had like a little community of friends and other artists who are my age, like on SoundCloud that I met. And I learned a lot from them. And we all sort of taught each other, and we got older, we got better. And then suddenly we were like DJing at South by Southwest and like DJing, in New York and Los Angeles. And, it was a small little scene that we were in, but it was nothing huge, but like, it was definitely something I took seriously. And I think my parents like eventually were like, oh, like this is a serious thing. It's not just like kind of, arts and crafts, like hobby type thing. And then around the time when I was finishing up high school, I wanted to like start to incorporate my voice into stuff again. And like, I kind of came full circle and was, feeling like electronic music wasn't maybe for me. And I still love it. Like I still have friends who are very much in that world. And like, I love that music so much. Like, but as in terms of what I want to make, it's something that like I've kind of left behind a bit. So to come full circle to answer your question, I know this is long and convoluted, but I think for a while after making electronic music, I was really scared of putting that influence into the James Ivy project. I ended up changing my name when I started making like singer-songwriter stuff. And I wanted to really distance myself from what I thought was like the old me or whatever. I was like, oh, that stuff, like never again, like could never do that. But what I found is that like, I was just trying to like emulate sort of a very like analog, retro, throwbacky sound for a long time. And it still comes through a little bit on like Good Grief record. Like I think like Lost Star is very like kind of like Oasis-y and like, like Brit pop. I don't know what you want to call it. Like there's a lot of like older stuff that it's referencing, and it's very like spot on in that like sense. And Pushing Through It also is, a song that's like meant to sort of feel like an anthem-y sort of, or maybe that's a little bit more Oasis-y than Lost Star. But there are moments on the new EP where I feel like it is trying to emulate this like very analog sound through like a digital medium, which is like me just making it all in Ableton. And I think something I've realized recently is that I don't really want to just replicate something as close to form as I can, because I feel like I can do that. Like I feel like I've already done that before and have like been able to achieve that in my music. And now I kind of want to see if there's like any experimentation that can be done to make something that feels new and doesn't feel just like, oh, this feels like something I heard when I was like growing up, or like this feels like something that my parents would listen to, So I think that's sort of like what's next for me. And that kind of encapsulates like a lot of where my head's at like right now and with music. So I don't know if that was a good answer to the question or not. I kind of took it all over the place, but
no. It was good. I think it definitely gave an insight into like how your music started and how it kind of ended up here where the EP is, because as I said, and as you just discussed, like it kind of covers this, like a vast musical landscape of different genres. When you were kind of getting to that point where you were wanting to not, I guess move away from like EDM or solely electronic, I know you said you play piano, but had you sung before? Was that something new?
I just like sang when I was like a kid. Like, I wrote songs growing up on like the piano and like my singing voice, but I was like 10 or 11 or 12. So it was just like very like elementary level stuff. But I would write songs, and like I had like a book full of lyrics, and like, you know, my dad recorded it all on his like iPad back in the day, like just like me singing on the piano. So they're all archived somewhere, but I never knew how to properly sing. I never took proper voice lessons, and that's actually something I'm looking to also like get into as well as that. But I feel like just I learned a lot through just trial and error, like just doing and doing and doing. And, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, I hate listening to myself, recording of myself. Like, that's how my voice really sounds. And to me, like, I've recorded myself so many times and I've hated it. I've gone through the process of hating it. And now I'm starting to try and find like the level of enjoyment in my own voice. So yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff that just takes time, and just takes repetition, and that's not the only thing, but I think that's like a really important piece of it.
100%.
Yeah. So that's for me. That's how I like, I guess, feel like my voice has gotten a lot better. It's definitely gotten a lot better. So, yeah, but I was pretty new to, very, very new to singing when I started doing it on the James Ivy project at first. And then, and I was new to guitar also. And I had a bunch of stuff on SoundCloud and nothing out on Spotify yet. So it was just like a bunch of random SoundCloud uploads, like kind of that are, I think some of them are still up there from like early college or late high school, I'd say. Yeah.
That's cool. The EP title, Good Grief, I believe, so if you can kind of walk us through the title, because from what I understand is that there was a, like the EP itself reflects on experiences from like growing up, from being a teenager. But I also understand that there was like I want to say like a fascination, or that there was a thought of like always impending, something bad was going to happen all the time. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, totally. It's Good Grief is like a title that I've wanted to use for a while. And I've kind of like had this idea of calling my first body of work, whatever it was, calling Good Grief, because it was something that I really like was fixated on a lot during this sort of, I'd say like the James Ivy project like was really in the works when I was like in college. So when I was in college, I was kind of fixating a lot on that sort of concept, which isn't super flushed out and super well defined within the songs on the EP. But I guess the overall like feeling that I was feeling at the time was, I was always worried, like in college, I was really, really anxious that something bad was going to like happen to me or my family or my like loved ones or something. And it like really, really occupied a lot of space in my head and kind of like took over me. So it kind of like was something I was really, really obsessed with in an unhealthy way for a long time. It was just this concept of like,
this summer, Instacart presents famous summer flavors coming to your front door. Or pool. Or hotel.
Your grocery delivery has arrived, sir.
That was faster than room service.
No violins in the lobby.
Oh, seriously? Anyway, sit back, relax, and get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes. Starring your favorite snacks, drinks, and more. Download Instacart for free delivery on your first 3 orders. Rated H for hungry audiences. Offer valid for a limited time. Minimum $10 per order. Excludes restaurants. Additional terms and fees apply.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be to be.
I don't feel like enough bad things have happened to me in my life. Like I feel like my life has been pretty cool and chill so far. And so because of that, I was lucky to have like a really, nice upbringing and stuff. And because of that, I had this like in thought of impending doom that like, like something's bound to go wrong one of these days. It's got to. And so then that is sort of like it sort of feels like a necessary, like it was like, I thought that there was like this like necessary amount of like trauma or like grief that like everyone was like supposed to experience in their life. And I feel like I felt like I hadn't experienced it yet. And I was like, it was coming for me. Like it was bound to happen. It was impending. And yeah, so like good grief refers to like necessary like trauma or like necessary grief that like you go through, and everyone goes through it. Everyone has things that are traumatizing in their lives. Everyone has things that are like, that are awful that happen to them, unfortunately. And I try to touch on that feeling a little bit of just like just anxiety about that feeling, and then like reactions to that feeling. So like Last Star is a song that's like really, really rooted in being anxious about like dying, which is sort of like my fixation on, oh, something bad's going to happen to me. And then Pushing Through It is a song that's like, I don't know, like it's just an anthem for pushing past that feeling. And like, and then Dirt is a song that kind of is like me like dying. Like, what if I did die? Like, so there's all these sort of like ways that each of the songs touch on that concept, like kind of briefly, but I don't feel like I really did a good job of getting what I wanted to say with that title across in the EP. But that's okay, because I think it's like my first project, and I kind of wanted to just be done with it and it was like, all right, I'm over it. Like I want to get it out, and I'm happy with it. So yeah.
It is, as we discussed, it is a brilliant EP, and I'm
Thank you.
I find it fascinating that you have said that you don't feel that it encompasses kind of like the subject matter itself, only because I don't know, like it from a listener's perspective, and who like might not have been able to have the opportunity to chat to you about it, like it does seem like you're able to discuss those kind of topics. And
yeah, I think maybe my wording of it is bad. Like I think it does encompass that feeling, but I think it doesn't like break it down in like a way that's like easy to comprehend. Like there's no like thesis statement with the EP. That's how I feel about it. Like I feel like it's like an essay, and it doesn't have a thesis. Like it's just a bunch of it's like a collection of like of ideas, and that's okay too. Like I think that's sometimes it's like a little bit more compelling.
Some of the best, 100%. Some of the best art or like the best records don't have a thesis. They are those thoughts just together. Yeah,
I'm glad I came up with that analogy, because I think I butchered like the explanation of it. So yeah, in short, like it feels like Good Grief feels like an essay that with like no thesis. Like it feels palpable and real and like very tangible, and a lot of feelings are super present, and like, but it's not really like saying anything precise. Like it's kind of just like overarching feelings and thoughts and stuff. So, yeah.
That's very cool. I know we've touched on the fact that you're currently on tour with Porter Robinson, but I believe he also had a hand in part of the EP. I think it was with Last Star that he helped with.
Small hand in it. I think he just sort of served as, or that's a bad word to use. I think he really he really helped with. I don't know. I sent the song to him, and he really liked it, and we would chat about it, and I think I played it for him in New York, and he had heard it before, and we were hanging out in New York, and I played it for him in my room, and he was like, oh, I just want to like, I wish I had my computer. Like, I want to just pick the song apart and like get into it and like kind of tweak it a little bit. And I was like, oh, interesting. Like, I wonder what you mean by that. Like, because I was like, oh, the song's done. Like, it's finished as is. But Porter listened to it and he's like, fucking love this song, but like, I wish I could get in there and like, you know, do some magic. And I was like, interesting. And so I called with him after he went home, and I was like, I'm turning in this song, Last Star, and I'm wondering like what you meant by that. And he's like, well, I just like think like I had some ideas about the structure of the song. And so the song goes, it's like intro, like do 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 thing, which is kind of like a chorus, and then verse, and then pre-chorus, chorus, verse, or post-chorus. The structure of Last Star is like really convoluted, and I think Porter wanted to like kind of condense it and make it super, super poppy because it's such a pop-centric song. And we were, and I agreed with him. I was like, cool, like I'm down to try this out because I think Last Star is great, and I want it to be the best song. I want what I put out with Last Star to be the best version of that song. Yeah. Like I want it, whatever I put out, I want to make sure that it's like we gave it our all, like, and it's just like, you know, it's as good as it could be. So me and Porter called like over the next couple of days, and we're like, what if we did this, and what if we did that, and what if we put this verse here, and like what if we took this part out, like what if we shorten this, like I have like videos and videos and videos of me just like like playing it on guitar and singing and being like, all right, so now it goes to this part, da, 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 da. Like, okay, now it goes to this part, and like kind of breaking it down for him and like sending him like videos, and he's like sending me like oh, I like took apart all the stems and like rearranged everything in FL Studio, and like he's like sending me stuff back, and we're going back and forth, and we couldn't figure it out. Like we tried our hardest, we tried so hard, and we couldn't end up figuring out anything that was better than the original. And I think I turned in the original structure, and I called him. I was like, I just turned it in. He's like, cool. Like, yeah, I think that makes sense. And I was like, yeah, I think so too. So he did make one change. There's one change in the very last chorus. He added this like minor 6 chord, I think. This that I'm hanging on is like there's a minor 6 underneath that at one point, which is something he was hearing. He was like, you should do this. And I was like, cool. But I'm really glad that we went through that whole tedious process, because now the song's out and I'm very, very confident. I'm like, okay, cool. We tried everything. We pulled out all the stops, and like it is the best version of the song that it could be. So
I was going to say it must be like a bit of a confidence booster to yourself in terms of being able to take the, like, looking at it as like a machine, taking the machine apart and knowing that you can't have it any better put back together than what you originally had.
Yeah, 100%. It's like, it's nice. It's a good feeling. Like there's a lot of songs that I put out, and I think just the way that people release music now, it's like very like single heavy. And so I feel like there's a lot of stuff where people just make something and like they're gassed on it, and they're like, all right, cool, put it out. And I've done it too. Like I've done so many of my songs are like that, like where I'm like, cool, like this is the first version, and it's like, I'm going to mix and master it, and it's done. We're going to put it out. Yeah. And I think there's something to be said for like really sitting with songs for a long time and like really thinking about them and revising stuff. I'm really bad at revising music. I'm really, really awful at it. I like going with like the first thing that I put down, and that's it. But yeah, I think like really taking your time on stuff and trying out different versions of things, seeing, you know, with a song is like, there's some merit in that for sure. And I think that's what I'm going to try and do a little bit more after this tour and when I'm making music again. So
could we expect any possible, I guess, yeah, you guys have been on tour together for the last
yes.
little while, potential collaborations?
Yeah, I think we're really both, I don't know. Yeah, we're both excited to make music together, I think. And I don't think that's like private or anything. I don't know what capacity it'll be. We don't have anything like, we're not plotting super big. We're mostly just like jamming and stuff. There'll be days where there's like a piano in his green room and I bring my guitar and, we jam out and we just come up with, we have voice memos and voice memos and voice memos of just like being bored on tour and coming up with some stuff and kind of, we're both riffing on it. He's singing some stuff, I'm singing some stuff, and just none of it is actually recorded and, none of it's produced out yet. It's all just sort of like these random ideas that we've been like sort of writing. And I love that. I love doing that because I've learned to make music on the computer. I'm so used to writing on the computer too. So writing a song as it goes and just, it only exists on my computer and it doesn't exist in like any sort of other form. And it's really fun to just write songs on guitar and just have songs that aren't even done. And I'm like done as in like recorded and produced. There's songs that are just like chords and lyrics. And that's really fun because then the production becomes sort of like a fill in the like color by numbers type thing. Like what do I want? I have the body of the song, I have the skeleton, but how do I want to flesh it out? So
to be honest, I think that's like the funnest part of kind of songwriting is having like, as you said, the skeleton and being able to be like, cool, let's see what works. Let's try this, try that. But you've still got that same base where you can kind of come back to it. Yeah.
We have like me and Porter have a few like ideas, just like melody ideas. And we're like both such perfectionists, I think. And like, we're just trying every chord combination over like a melody. Like we'll be in the studio and like, or not in the studio, but like we'll just be hanging out, like making music somewhere. And we'll sit there for like 2 hours singing the same melody. But I'm like, okay, what if it went to this chord here? And he's like, no, I like this chord better. Like, I think this chord like evokes this sort of feeling. Like this chord is great. And I'm like, cool. And so we just like, we're like constantly just like at this point, we're never getting anything done. Cause it's like, we just love to sit with small ideas and envision all the possible ways they could go. Sorry if I'm nerding out a little bit, but
no. I love it. That's why we started this podcast, to kind of nerd out on stuff like that.
Cool. Very cool.
James, usually we would ask our guests what they're currently listening to, if there's anything getting like a thorough play on your either streaming service or record player. I imagine streaming service if you're on the road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely had so much time to listen to music on the road, which has been so cool because I've listened to more music in the past 2 months than I think I've listened to in, I don't know, the longest time. So I'm looking at my Apple Music right now. I just added, most recent thing is from yesterday. It's my girlfriend sent me the song "Everywhere" by Fleetwood Mac. And I hadn't heard that song ever. She's a big Fleetwood Mac fan, and I never really listened to them. So I'm listening to Tango in the Night, their album. I fell asleep to it last night. Awesome. It was really good. I've been falling asleep to a lot of records. So there's a lot of passive listening involved, but and then pretty much all day I've been listening to "Absolutely" by Dijon. Really, just it's just crazy, incredible record. Like it's so good. It's really inspiring. Our tour manager, and a lot of these are just like albums that have been recommended to me by people on the tour, which is so awesome because I can just throw them on and So our tour manager, Robert Dugan, really loves Boards of Canada. That's like one of his favorite bands. So I'm giving Boards of Canada another try. I listened to them in the past and haven't been a huge fan, but I'm listening to the Campfire Head Phase right now. Their record, I think it's like their 2005 record. What else we got here?
They're a very good band to, as you said, passively listen to.
Yeah. Yes. So good. So good for falling asleep. And just like fucking literally just falling asleep. I have like a tour playlist made with like some of my favorite songs that I've been listening to. But I guess the last one that's more recent is like, well, I've been listening to the Kid A Amnesia record, the like B-sides of the Radiohead albums that came out. Those are cool, but you know, it's not new, I guess. I don't know. And then my girlfriend's or my one of my audio tech who's helping me out on tour, his name is Hank Fury. He heard that I like the Dandy Warhols, and we got to talking about the Dandy Warhols, who were a big inspiration for like Pushing Through It and some songs like that. And he was like, I think we somehow ended up at the Pixies, and he recommended me Surfer Rosa by the Pixies. So, those are some recent albums. And then, it's so much. And I normally have nothing, like when people ask me this question, what are you listening to? I have the hardest time answering it. And since I've been on tour, I've been so excited about music that I'm just like, oh, cool. Like I've been listening to this, I've been listening to this, and I've been listening to that. And I've been like really keeping track of what I've been listening to also. And then, also I've been listening to the new No Rome song a lot. No Rome has his new song called When She Comes Around, and it's really fucking awesome. So that's a small recap of stuff that I'm going through.
I kind of like as well, and we've discussed it with like previous guests, just in the fact that more and more and more that people seem to be listening to like everything, in terms of even like 10 or 15 years ago, it was like you're a metalhead or you're like only into folk or reggae or whatever. But like Fleetwood Mac, Boards of Canada, Pixies, like it's kind of it's an awesome, but like in a good way. Like you don't have the same meal for dinner every night. Why would you do the same like creatively? So
I'm so like that with food too. I'm like, I want to try, like every night I want to have something different. Like, that's a good way to put it. Like you don't eat the same thing. You don't eat like, I mean, I could eat like Korean food every night for dinner, but I think I would get sick of it. I think I'd get sick of anything like having it every night. And so, I think like everyone's taste now is so widespread. It's really cool. It's really, really cool. I feel like I don't listen to enough music sometimes. So I'm really happy that I'm on tour, and like you get into the bus and like you just like are tired from the day, and like you get into your bunk, and sometimes I'm like, oh, like I could like watch a movie or something, but I just mostly end up gravitating towards like listening to music until I fall asleep. So it's been really, really good for that, which is awesome.
No, that's awesome. James, thank you very much for being on the podcast today. I do appreciate it.
Of course. Yeah, thank you so much too. Like I've had such a great time. I hope I wasn't talking your ear off too much.
And that's our show. A massive thank you to James Ivey for his time. His EP, Good Grief, is out now, and we've left links in the show notes if you'd like to stream the record. We also want to give a huge shout out to Jake at Here for Good Agency for helping out with today's interview. You can find a link to our Spotify playlist in the show notes, where you'll be able to listen to all of our guests' picks. If you like this show, please subscribe wherever you get your pods and stay up to date when new episodes are released. We release new shows each Thursday and Friday morning, with guest playlists streaming on Spotify at the same time. You can follow the playlist profile on Spotify. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Until next week, cheers.